and really focusing on America's history and how important it is to actually know American history in order to understand current events and be able to really understand what's going on in America and our legal and historical foundations.
And we started the venture originally with the idea and the genesis, because we see so many people around us, whether it's our own kids, whether it's colleagues, whether it's people in the street, people we meet, who really have had no understanding about the founding principles of this country. What does the Constitution really say? What does the Declaration of Independence mean? What does it say? People will look at you and say, well, it just, you know what it means. And well, no, you really ought to know what it is. And we've become so untethered for so long from those founding principles. We were concerned about how adrift we've become. So we said, you know what? We want to do something about it. They've all honestly know that they should know, but they don't. So we want to fill that void.
Welcome to the Republic Podcast, where history meets scrutiny and facts matter. Join Rob and Lou as they dive deep into the foundations of American democracy, dissect the laws that shape our lives, and challenge the narratives behind today's headlines. From forgotten chapters in the U.S. history to the legal truths they didn't teach you in school. This is your front row seat to get informed, unapologetic conversation. We have an American republic, if we can keep it. Now, let's get started. Good Lord. So,
Exactly.
All right. So I guess we're recording now. So, all right. So, hello, everyone. My name's Lou and
I'm Rob.
And we're here today for our channel where we are launching this new channel together. Where we're going to be discussing American history and current events, and with a focus of American exceptionalism.
What he said.
Yeah, and yeah, it's already been hitting already, but and really focusing on America's history and how important it is to actually know American history in order to understand current events and be able to really understand what's going on in America and our legal and historical foundations.
And we started the venture originally with the idea and the genesis, because we see so many people around us, whether it's our own kids, whether it's colleagues, whether it's people in the street, people we meet, who really have had no understanding about the founding principles of this country. What does the Constitution really say? What does the Declaration of Independence mean? What does it say? People will look at you and say, well, it just, you know what it means. And well, no, you really ought to know what it is. And we've become so untethered for so long from those founding principles. We were concerned about how adrift we've become. So we said, you know what? We want to do something about it.
Right. I mean, exactly. It's where it was disheartening when you would have the, interviews on the street, and they'd be going up to people and they'd be asking them, okay, who fought in World War II? Or who fought the American Revolution? How many parts of government, is there in the United States? Can you name them?
Right.
And
How many branches?
simple things like that we grew up learning in history class that I guess we just took for granted.
And we did. And then, because we're as old as we are, gray hair is what it is.
If we haven't.
We know that in the meantime, there's been an erosion. People have gotten away from history. People have gotten away from civics classes. People have gotten away from any understanding of the real foundational pieces of this country. So we're going to go through those, and it's not going to be some dry, as Lou and I were talking before we hit the record button. We're both, look, don't hold it against us. We're both lawyers. It's an ugly rumor, but we don't want to be as boring like the tax professor I had in law school, who got up at a podium, opened a book, and just read the tax code, section 143, and he just wanted to, God, just open a vein, let me out of here. Yeah, we want this to be interactive. We want it to be interesting. We want it to be educational, because we're really, when we talk to people, whether it's a child, whether it's a colleague, whatever, and we talk to them about these principles and they really don't understand, it's amazing how much they want to know, because they really ought to. They've all honestly know that they should know, but they don't. So we want to fill that void.
Right. And it all comes down to an issue of dialogue. The positions that, that we present and everything else, these are our positions, and it's, we don't claim to be, historical scholars or constitutional scholars or anything like that. We do have backgrounds in both of them. And so, but it's a matter of opening the dialogue and talking, that there's there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of, being able to understand and being able to explain your position. Where Rob and I, there's some things that we don't agree upon either. But that's just because that's the nature of human relations. But it's a matter of where we respect each other, because at least the ideas and the thoughts we have are founded in history, are founded in a better understanding, rather than this is what I found on Insta or TikTok or whatever the hell you're watching. That it's
Please,
people.
God, get off of TikTok. Just get off of TikTok.
Yeah. That people have gotten away from critical thinking and questioning and having a desire to learn more. That we become a soundbite nation, where if I can't learn it in 30 seconds, and I'm just as responsible, I mean, I'm just as guilty as anyone, but if I can't learn it in 30 seconds, then I get bored. So we're trying to take that away. We're trying to supplement the education that you may already have, and sort of explain it a little bit more and put it into terms so that people can understand and address it.
So we have a 2-tier mission. On the one, as we just talked about, we want to be able to delve into those foundational principles. We want to talk about American exceptionalism. We want to talk about why it is that the American experiment is so important and has been for the world. We want to explain how that experiment started, upon the foundations that it was built, who did them, what were they doing, why were they thinking, et cetera, et cetera. But that educational piece is just one part. The second part is, how does it relate to where we find ourselves today? And we're going to do, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, just recaps. What happened in the past week? And how does that reflect back to those foundational pieces? How far have we drifted? Are we still on solid bedrock? Going from there.
Right. I mean, and a perfect example, I mean, not to jump ahead or anything like that, but some of the things that have come up that that Rob and I were discussing before was, how First Amendment in the United States, that's a foundation of the United States, and how we all take that for granted, when right now what's going on over in Europe is, it's hard to fathom, but that's because they don't have those constitutional protections. They don't have those protections, the same protections that we do. And so,
we're recording this in September of 2025.
right.
So, the challenges that we're seeing from across the pond of people who are, as we understand it, are being bullied by the state through the police. If you say something incorrectly that the government doesn't want you to say, they'll put you in jail. I'm not trying to make someone like Tommy Robinson into a martyr or a hero or whatever. I know in little bits about him. I can't say I know a lot about him, but from what I understand, there are people who have been put in jail for posting a meme, for commenting on social media, for praying at the wrong spot on a road,
Right.
not just silently praying, and they're arrested.
And yeah, and it's something that, that people look at it and they're like, and they just can't understand how that could happen. But that's because we have these protections.
And thank God it's baked into our bread.
Right. And that's something that we'll discuss more. We'll discuss about the foundational documents. We'll talk about history. We'll talk about to put things in a historical perspective, so that you could understand why certain things are the way that they are. And by no means are we saying that America is perfect. America is a, in the world history, is a young country. We're coming up on our 250th birthday, and it's something that we're learning and we're growing, but it's something that has maintained, and that we're doing the best that we can.
As we've said in our foundational documents, we strive to be a better nation. We always are striving to be a better nation. We're striving, we go through our growing pains. And while, as Lou said, we're not perfect, I am really hard pressed to try to find any other place on this planet that has afforded people more freedom, more opportunity, more ability to be themselves than anywhere else. And yes, as I've said, and as Lewis said, we've had our significantly important problems, but we always seem to try to rectify them and to get better and to do better and to be better.
Right.
And where does that come from? It comes from the foundational documents.
And and the other thing that we'd like to do is that encourage dialogue. Is that we are hoping that this channel can at least get people thinking about things and getting them engaged and thinking about this more and doing your own research, because that's the most important thing. Is don't rely upon people like us. Don't rely on
What?
Shut up, okay? Trust me, I'm from the government. No,
I'm from the government.
but it's something that we want, that as a speaker has said. And of course, we're dealing with the time of Charlie Kirk, who just was just assassinated because of his position, and that's what spurred us on to change what we were originally doing into the current iteration of what we have. That freedom dies when we stop speaking. When people stop talking, that's when bad things happen.
Everything breaks down.
Everything breaks down. You need to have that open dialogue, and that's because when dialogue fails, that's when violence happens. And, unfortunately, that's what did happen, because people didn't like the dialogue, and that we need to keep talking. If we want to keep our society, not just our country, but our society functioning.
It's been a really terrible week, and I don't care where anyone lands on a political spectrum. We are trying not to be political right now. Crazy. But at the same time, everyone needs to acknowledge and understand and appreciate that we need to do better. That the foundation of our country, as we always try to and will always try to do, you'll see the nexus, you'll see the legacy and the umbilical cord that's from here all the way back to there. When you have someone who just espouses the idea and the willingness to talk, and he's silenced for it, that's horrible enough. But when you really put it through the lens of our society as a whole, everything about our society is dependent upon having a robust dialogue. It's about interaction. It's about the give and take. It's the way that our government was set up was not supposed to be, so things could be rammed through so easy. It's about the need to have discussion. And as much as everyone out there, no offense to the lovely people in Congress, but I think everyone out there, and I can speak for Lou, that we have our significant concerns about the ability of Congress to do its job for any number of reasons, which we'll get into. But the whole purpose of the Congress is to debate things. They've gone far astray, in my particular opinion, but the whole purpose of this country, from its founding back in the 17s with the Continental Congress then to where we are now, is dependent upon dialogue.
Right.
And we are here to talk about how the nexus from the beginning to where we are now in this weekly or bi-weekly recap, that's what we're going to focus on.
Right. I mean, and it's something that we want to make this interactive. We want to make this, we love talking about this. We could sit here and entertain each other for hours, and if alcohol is involved, even more. But I'll edit that out later.
Maybe.
But it's something that we like to have this as a dialogue. We'd like to engage with you. We can only do that by your interaction with us. Not to put in a plug, but here's a plug: like, share, and subscribe. And as this, as our page grows, as our podcast grows, we'd like to grow with you, and we'd like you to be part of our discussion. That's something that we need to do. We need to be able to discuss openly these issues, because that's what it's about. We don't need to agree, and we're not here to convince anybody that we're right. I mean, that's that everybody has their own opinion. Has their own background, their own reasons for believing certain things are right and wrong. But it's something that we need to at least have a common ground to understand, and at least be able to acknowledge this is why we're doing this. Yes, we understand that this is what it is, but at least understand the historical basis for why certain things are the way that they are, and the legal basis for, okay, well, this is what the Constitution says, and these are what the rights, and this is what's going on. So that's what we're looking for, and we're looking for that interaction with you.
We're good. We're going to make this as interactive as Lou said. We're going to try to make it entertaining. We're going to try to make it educational, and we appreciate the grace you're going to give us we've already started recording a number of things. We're going to get better with time.
Yep.
And a number you might be sitting out there like, God help us all. You better be, you better get better with time.
Well, yeah.
We appreciate it.
So with that being said, we appreciate your time. We look forward to talking to you some more. And again, like, share, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
You got it.
All right. Thank you. Cheers, brother.
Be good, be well.
Shut up and sit down.
Thanks for listening to The Republic, If You Can Keep It podcast. Join Rob and Lou in our next episode as we continue our riveting discussions on the most important topics affecting our great republic. Drop a line for topics you want to discuss, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time.